Okay, so let me recall. There are two types of assessments in outcome-based education. Is my voice audible clearly?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Yes, sir. You're audible.
Yes, sir.
Did you found any
Yes,
network
sir. Yes, sir.
interruptions?
Audible, sir.
Okay.
Audible, sir. No, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So direct assessment and indirect assessment, they are the two assessment methodologies we have to follow. Then the outcomes of direct and indirect assessments are to be compared together so that a concrete assessment can be made in order to showcase the student competency so that they can be given the good confidence in making them globally employable. So this slide is depicting about the essential components of outcome-based education in order to brush up. So I hope you have really understood outcomes. They define what students to know are able to do by the end of the graduation degree or post-graduation degree, which is very clear, measurable, and aligned with the program goals. Then, of course, the curriculum should be designed in such a way that the curriculum which has been prescribed for the program should be very specific in elevating the student competency or inculcating the student skills in achieving their intentions, their goals. So proper assessment strategies are to be adopted, including indirect assessment. We should not hesitate to make any kind of survey in the indirect assessment. Along with the direct assessment, indirect assessment will be giving you a transparent view of performance of the student. Then another important aspect in OBE is the feedback. And this feedback loop involves analyzing the assessment results to enhance the teaching and learning, and it drives continuous improvement and program effectiveness. So any work you do, any duty you discharge, you should have the tradition to collect the feedback so that the needed instruments or implements can be incorporated to the curriculum or teaching learning methodology or whatever it is. Then the program should be evaluated periodically. Program in the sense it may be related to the curriculum, it may be related to the teaching learning methods, or it may be related to the assessment strategy. You have to evaluate periodically, and as and when required, the modifications are needed to be done. That's what the BOS, BOE are to be taken care while developing the curriculum, while fabricating the curriculum. It is not simply copying the curriculum developed by some university or some other autonomous college and that has been intact implemented by your higher education institution. It is not like that. Whatever your students dependent upon the geographical location or area of your institute, the composition of the students and IQ, the intelligent quotient of your students, what curriculum is exactly needed, you have to plan and accordingly you have to design and implement, provided that is permitted to you. If you are an autonomous college, you can do this. Otherwise, you can suggest these requirements to the respective BOS in the affiliated institutions so that you can make your students to get best utilization of the curriculum, what is offered by the affiliated institution and what has been taught by you people. Then the stakeholder engagement is very important. A stakeholder is nothing but the students, alumni, parents, teachers. The major group of stakeholders are students. So you have to make those major stakeholders, particularly students and parents, to be engaged. And you have to make utilization of the alumni for the betterment of the functioning of your institution. So alumni contribution will be very, very significant in enhancing the students' competency or students' capability level. The motivational talks from the alumni, the motivational lectures from the eminent teachers is going to be of paramount importance. This you take care. Definitely, no doubt, your institutional objective will be fulfilled. Your mission will be achieved. Your vision will be reached very easily. Therefore, your institution will be shining. So with this, you have two pillars in the outcome-based education. One is the inputs from the stakeholders, and the other one is assessment strategy. So there is scope for continuous improvement from these both, whether you are assessing the student through a course or through a program, that is going to be institutional assessment. This institutional assessment will be giving you the achievement of benchmark, whether the institution has achieved its benchmark with respect to quality. That can be known from the assessment. How graduate attributes really acquired by the students. Suppose 100 students are studying from you, studying in your college. They have been graduated, out of which how many have become graduated, how many have become employable, they have got the job, how many went to higher education, how many are pursuing research, etc. You categorize, you calculate, you consolidate, you evaluate the report in accordance to the assessment report, you correlate, then you will have a clear picture what modifications are needed to be done. That's what assessment is important component. And inputs from stakeholders is very important. Inputs in the sense related to CO, PO, and the POs, you have to collect the inputs, and that will be solely from the indirect assessment, indirect survey. The suggestions given by the alumni, suggestions given by the peer teachers, suggestions given by the passed out students, suggestions given by their parents will be very, very significant. You consider them for the better functioning, and therefore outcome can be attained. Okay, next, let us move on to other important aspect, CO statements, how to write CO statement, how to map COs with POs, and calculation part. Let me deal with these aspects. You know the definition for CO? CO is a statement that describes the competency level of the student after completion of a particular course. How to write it? You cannot write CO haphazardly, randomly. There are systematic steps you have to follow. For any course, for one course, 3 to 5 COs are to be written, are to be designed. Don't write 7, 8, 9, 10 COs. That is very unscientific. More the COs, more the cumbersome situation to get the attainment report. More the COs, more the narrowness of the COs. The wider coverage of the aspects from a particular CO will not be there if the COs are more. So restrict the COs from 3 to 5, maximum 5, minimum 3. So while writing the CO, you have to make sure that that CO should have an action verb. Action verb in the sense what really the student is capable to do. That is the action verb. It should have a subject content related to history, related to mathematics, related to psychology, and related to that particular course, that particular subject. It should have content. Then to which Bloom's taxonomy level it is appropriate, whether the CO can be attained or not, at the level of remember, understand, apply, analyze, evaluate, or create. To which level of Bloom's taxonomy it is matching, it is correlated, that is how to assess. Accordingly, how to write. Don't make it very complex. Not all the COs should have the Bloom's taxonomy level of either evaluate or create level. Take it from the bottom approach to the top approach. Low order thinking, low order critical thinking skills to high order thinking skills. Then modes for performing the task. What is the mode of performing the task to achieve that CO? That is very important. You look at the following one. This is an exemplar or an instance to write the CO. The first line is a common statement you can put. After successful completion of this course, there is a course, let me say separation technique. This is the title of the course. Indian history, that is a course. Human anatomy, that is a course. Human psychology, that is a course. linear algebra is a course, microeconomics is a course. For that particular course, you have to write 3 to 5 COs. So those COs should have these characteristics. So let me write, this is a CO written for the course separation techniques. After successful completion of separation techniques course, the student should be able to design a procedure to separate acids and bases. Action verb has been underlined here. Look at this. Design is the action verb. Andre, if you are given the mixture of acids and bases, the student will be able to separate them. The skill related to separation, the skill related to write a procedure to separate organic acids and bases, you will acquire. That is the course outcome. Then this is the first CO. It has action verb. Action verb, subject content, level of taxonomy, and modes of everything is here. One by one, let me illustrate. Or another CO. Student will be able to determine the purity of real sample. In the first CO, this is the action verb. In the second CO, subject content is purity of real sample. Purity of real sample is the subject. So you take a sample, real sample, what percentage of acid is present, what percentage of base is present, what percentage of poison is present in a food. That is the subject content. Then level of achievement. Present the application of chromatographs. Chromatograph is an instrument to separate acid and bases. Student will use chromatography experiment. How? By using the knowledge on chromatography, applying the knowledge. You will apply the knowledge. So that is the taxonomy level. Apply the knowledge of chromatography, you will separate acid and base. So what is the subject content? Purity of real sample will be evaluated. Okay, so Bloom's taxonomy level mode of performing the task. Instrumental mode, you will be using the chromatographic instrument. That is the instrumental mode, or the manual mode, or the traditional mode, or the blended mode, whatever it is. This is a model prescription of COs, designing the COs for any particular course. Okay, this is very important to address. While writing the CO, it should be very specific to the course for which you are writing that. It should be a concrete one. It should be a detailed one. It should be focused and defined. It should not be haphazard. It should not be simply written to complete your task. How? Suppose you are in a BOS. Your duty is to write the CO for the subject of your concern. So what do? Your aim is to complete the task. That's it. No, don't do that. It should be very specific. It should be very specific. You analyze the CO, even the CO has been taken from the curriculum of some other institution. It should be measurable. So at the end of the study of that course by a student, you will assess him. You will assess the student. The attainment of that CO should be measurable. That's how you have to design the CO. If that is not measurable, either by direct way of assessment or indirect way of assessment, that CO will be inappropriate. That is immeasurable. Is it achievable? So, the student will be able to understand the arts and culture of Mysore Palace. This is CO. You will take the student to Mysore Palace. He is not capable to understand that. Then why have you written that CO? The student is not able to understand the art and culture. That is not achievable. So it should be achievable. It should be achievable. And another important thing is it should be relevant to the context. Means to the learner, to the subject, to the course, or to the program, it should be relevant. The outcome is to be very important. It should be worthwhile to the learner or to the stakeholder, means the parents, alumni, employer. Then time bound. You have a 16 hours of course. That course has 3 course outcomes. One course outcome will have 1/3 of the duration. So within that specified period of time, that course outcome should be attained by the student. So that's how you have to design the course outcome. This is very important to keep in your mind always. Okay. Some tips, as I already told you, 3 to 5 course outcomes you can design. CO essentials are, as I told you, action, verb, subject, content, level of achievement, mode of performing the task. Bloom's taxonomy level are to be incorporated. Minimum 3 Bloom's taxonomy level you have to make sure. And the curriculum content to be covered. You are not supposed to leave. That we will be doing with bias, we teachers, especially an expert teacher who is setting the question paper will be putting the questions from only 1 unit or 2 units. He will ignore another unit. Don't mistake me. So why? He will assume that that unit might have not been taught by him. So that bias should not be there. The whole unit needed to be considered. The curriculum content has a whole to be considered to write the CO. There should not be any curriculum gap. If the curriculum gap is there, that has to be addressed, that has to be filled, and that has to be given the weightage. So these are the tips you have to keep in your mind. Okay. It is not easy to prescribe the CO by your own, and you have to do some experiment and you have to do certain exercise. How? If you are new to write the CO, first you have to design the CO and they have to be validated. How to do the validation? So first of all, you have the freedom to take the COs designed by your affiliated university or the university which is neighbor, adjacent university, adjacent autonomous college, or any other institute, higher education institution, which is offering the same course. What you are offering, the course offered by you as well as the institute, other institute offering are same. Then you can take the COs as reference, for the reference. Then you have to prepare your draft CO. Draft CO. So each and every course will be having an in-charge person. That in-charge person should prepare that list of draft COs for that particular course. And that should be kept for verification either in the BOS or in the faculty meet or by inviting some expert faculty members to your department. You have to verify them. If all found they are much suitable and appropriate, you can approve them in the BOS or let them be approved by the HOD or the program coordinator, then put for implementation. So these are set of validated COs you have to consider, and you can incorporate them to the curriculum of your particular program, whether it is undergraduation program or post-graduation program. Okay, this is all about writing the COs. Then next step is mapping. Mapping is very much essential as far as assessment and attainment are concerned. Okay, how do we map? Mapping will be done in 2 ways. There are 2 requirements of mapping. One mapping is between COs and the questions. You conduct the internal assessment test and end semester examination tests. You frame the questions, you design the questions, keeping in your mind that the taxonomy level, whether you are setting the question of lower order thinking skills or higher order thinking skills, you keep always in your mind. That is the taxonomy level. So question to taxonomy level is one way of mapping, one step of mapping, question to taxonomy level. Question to CO, that is another step of mapping. These are very compulsory. Your question paper should reflect mapping between COs and questions and taxonomy level. This is appeared in the question paper. Next, mapping between COs and program outcomes or program specific outcomes. If both are there, between COs and both. Now to assure, I'll tell you how to map that. First, to keep in your mind, mapping is very essential. Mapping between course and course outcomes and questions. mapping between questions and taxonomy level. Number one, number two. Number three, mapping between COs and POs. Mapping between COs and PSOs. Mapping means it is just relating the correlation, which are relevant COs to a particular PO, you have to map. So if that is going to be inappropriate, you need not. Similarly, question to CO. Right. Then you follow assessment strategy. Direct assessment and indirect assessment methods. You do the assessment. Assessment means you do the evaluation. In the direct assessment, you take the answer script. Question wise, you award the marks. So the marks secured by the students, you tabulate in the data entry step. So IA test, question wise marks entry, how to do for the IA tests as well as the end semester examinations. To calculate the attainment, you have to fix some threshold. Threshold means minimum marks for pass for each question, for each CO, for each question, for each CO, you have to put. Then comes attainment calculation. So there are three steps of calculations. One is CO attainment calculation, PO and PSO attainment calculation, and overall attainment, then summarizing all these things. Now, let me take the first one. Mapping process. First COs and questions, then questions with taxonomy. You can see this question paper. This is a model question paper. And this we have designed in our institution for MSc program. You put all the preliminary information, course title, program name, date and day of the internal assessment test, maximum marks, duration, everything. If necessary to give the COs in the question paper, you enlist all the COs in the question paper itself. See, this particular course, molecular symmetry and spectroscopy, this has 3 COs. We have put 3 COs in the question paper. Then this question paper carries 2 parts, part A and part B. Part A is for 2 marks and part B is for 10 marks. Each question carries 10 marks in part B. According to your question paper pattern, you follow. Don't worry. The outcome-based education framework do not demand the question paper pattern, but it will demand the appropriateness of the COs with the program outcomes and the questions. And the question should have the Bloom's taxonomy level. There should be a specific mention about the taxonomy level. Otherwise, the question paper will be treated as vague one. So you see here, question number 1A, there is a question, there is a course outcome level, taxonomy level 2. CO1, there is CO1 here. This question is given to the content present in the curriculum, which is related to CO1. What level of answer we anticipate from the student? Level 2, that is understand level question. This is student has to write the answer using its understanding ability, what he has understood while starting the concept related to this question. So this is how you have to map. You can see mapping between CO and question, mapping between CO and taxonomy level, mapping between question and CO, mapping between CO and taxonomy level. There is a correlation. Similarly, question 2, question B, C, D, E, question number 2A, 2B, 2C, you can see the appropriate relative concerned CO and specific level what we have mentioned. So this is how the question paper pattern you can fabricate, you can design, customize as per your course requirement. You prepare this table for clarity and in order to make your duty very simple, simplified one. So per semester, I hope you will be conducting 2 tests, 2 internal assessment tests and 1 end semester examination. In between, you will give 1 assignment and you conduct 1 seminar for students. In internal assessment test 1, component 1, question paper has 2 parts, part A, part B. Question 1A, B, C related to CO1, taxonomy level, level 1, level 2, total marks 6. Like this. I have given this very randomly, don't worry. And assignment I have given, the topic of that assignment was related to CO4 of a particular course. taxonomy level was level 3 and level 4. That is apply and analyze level. Apply and analyze level. Marks assigned was 5. Similarly, for C2 test, question 1A, B, C related to CO3, taxonomy level was K2, K3, K4. Total marks 6. 1D, 1E, total marks 4 of the level K2, K3. Those questions were related to CO4. So like this, total, the questions covered CO1 were of total 21 marks. CO2 carried 21 marks, CO3 19 marks, CO4 15 marks, CO5 14 marks. Like this. You make a tabular form. So for comparing the attainment results, that will become very simple. ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ mapping ಅಂತ. What is exactly the meaning of mapping here? That is very important. Mapping between CO and PO, that is the next level. One is mapping the correlation between CO and question, then question and taxonomy level, then comes mapping between CO and PO. Correlation ಮಾಡಿ ಆಯ್ತು CO ನ question ಜೊತೆ, question ನ Bloom's taxonomy ಜೊತೆ. Now you have to map CO with the appropriate PO and PSO. You can see these numbers 1, 2, 3, minimum 1, maximum 3. Some have dash. Dash means nothing, means no mapping anta artha. No mapping. How do we put this? This 1, 2, 3 numbers in this table represents the level, the mapping level, the mapping strength between CO and PO. What exactly the strength between CO and PO, that could be understood by this number 1, 2, 3. If that is 1, the strength of mapping between CO and a particular PO is low. If number appearing 2, the mapping level or mapping strength is 2, the strength of the map between CO and the respective PO is medium. If it is 3, that is high. How can we decide this? You see here, a course has 5 outcomes: CO1, CO2, CO3, CO4, CO5. A program, say BA history and the BA history has 5 course outcomes. BA history has so many courses. One course has 5 outcomes. In that particular course, those course outcomes are mapped with the program outcomes and program specific outcomes of BA program, or BSc program, or BBA program. How many program outcomes are there? PO1, PO2, PO3, PO4, PO5. There are 5 program outcomes. There are 5 PSOs, program specific outcomes. Okay. These numbers are decided in 3 ways. One is based on the contact hours, through which you will complete the content related to that CO in appropriate to PO. Number 2, the assessment tools, number of assessment tools you use. Number 3, appropriateness while using the keywords to show the correlation between CO and PO. Let me take the first one. So out of these 3, you have to follow minimum 2, or whichever is very major one for your course or your program is concerned. You can prefer that. You can prefer that. You have the freedom in choosing that. And these are according to standard guidelines. These are my own hypothesis. These are proposed in the standard guidelines, standard articles. We have referred the standard. Particular course has 4 COs. Each CO is assessed. The performance of the student is assessed on each CO based on the content delivered at least for 4 hours. At least for 4 hours. So likewise, CO2 for 4 hours, CO3 4 hours, CO5, CO4 4 hours. Total 16 hours birthday. You take the overall duration of that particular course. Suppose, say for example, a course is taught 3 hours per week, 12 weeks, 36 hours theory course it is. Or number of practicals, 2 per week, 4 hours per class, 12 weeks you will teach, 96 hours. Or theory 10 hours, tutorials 12 hours, practicals 48 hours, total 70 hours. Total 70 hours. Out of this, you assume let CO1 related to points are engaged in 8 lectures of theory paper. 8 lectures of theory paper. This is a theory paper. Total hours dedicated is to be 36 hours. 8 hours you have to dedicate to cover the content related to CO1. So what percentage of hours you have to spend? 8 by 36 into 100, that is going to be 22 hours. This percentage is very important to map here. If that percentage becomes less than 5, no mapping, where we have to put dash. Sometimes we may put 0, no mapping, 0 mapping level. So out of the overall duration, a content related to a particular CO is completed or delivered by spending less than 5 hours of overall contact hours, then there should not be any mapping between CO and PO. No mapping. If that percentage stands in between 5 and 15%, if that percentage stands in between 5 and 15%, mapping level should be 1. That is low. Means out of 16 hours paper, you are dedicating only 5 to 15% of total duration of 16 hours, say 0.8 hours to 2.4 hours, 0.8 to 2.4 hours for a particular course. You can map that particular CO with the relevant PO with level 1. Similarly, if the percentage of duration to cover the content related to a particular CO is in between 15 and 25%, mapping level between CO and PO stands at 2. That is medium mapping, medium level of mapping. If the contact hour exceeds 25%, high level of mapping. More the mapping level, more the performance you have to expect from the student. More the effort you have to put to teach that content to the student. So that's how we can interpret. Then another important tool is considering the number of assessment tools used. Assessment tools means test is one assessment tool. Assignment means another assessment tool. Seminar means another assessment tool. Viva, another assessment tool. Internship, another assessment tool. Project, another assessment tool. Like this. If a CO is related to a PO, you are assessing the performance of the student related to a particular CO. CO assess ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ PO assess ಮಾಡ್ದಂಗೆ ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ CO ನ PO ಗೆ ಮ್ಯಾಪ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ. So if the number of assessment tools used is 0, no mapping, andre you are not assessing the student at all, you are just delivering the content. Suppose you have taken a special class to cover some introductory part of a particular course, no question is going to be asked, but you have designed a CO. You have designed a CO, right? You are not asking any question or you are not conducting any assessment strategy for the student related to that particular content. If such is a case, no assessment tool is used, therefore no mapping. Mapping level or mapping strength stands at 0. Okay. if you use one or two assessment tools, you conduct the internal assessment test and you also give the assignment, two assessment tools, either test or assignment or both test and assignment, both you consider. Mapping level stands at 1, low. You conduct the test, you give the assignment, you also make the student to present the seminar. How many assessment tools you are following? 3. So mapping level stands at medium. Mapping level stands at medium. That is 2. That is 2. Four or more assessment tools are used. Say test, assignment, seminar, project, VIVAs, internship, field visit. Everything is there for a student to assess as far as that particular course outcome is concerned. Then that CO should be mapped with the PO with the level 3 high, that is level high. So this is how you can map. And the third strategy is correlating the CO with the PO. This is very critical to follow. You have to carefully observe the process involved during the assessment and the correlation between a CO with a particular PO. No mapping is involved whenever you expect the student to apply low order thinking skill and not at all related to the course content with any of the outcomes. No mapping. That is, the understanding level is assessed haphazardly with consideration of only lower order thinking skills. The outcomes are not prescribed. No mapping is required between the CO and PO. Some part of PO is appearing in CO with all keywords and action verbs. You just compare CO with PO. Very simple this is. You just compare CO with PO. Some part of PO is appearing in CO. That's it, with some keywords, action verb. Then you give the mapping level of 1, low mapping. Next, major part of PO is reflected in CO. Only moderate performance is expected by the student to achieve that CO. Some part, very minimal part of the CO is appearing in PO. In order to achieve that CO, student has to perform very moderately in turn to achieve the PO. Then you map at level 2, medium. Same thing, CO is completely matching with PO, but student has to perform well extraordinarily in order to achieve CO and PO. Then the mapping level stands at 3, very high. So these are the 3 important steps, strategies you have to follow. Number 1 is by following the contact hours. Number 2, by using the assessment tools. Number 3, by correlating between the keywords present in POs and COs, and by looking at the assessment levels, performance levels, you can map COs with POs. If you have so many COs, that CO should be mapped at least with 1 PO and vice versa. You have a BA program, BSc program, BBA program, BCA program, whatever it is. There are certain prescribed POs and PSOs for that particular program. Each and every PO should be mapped with one or the other CO. At least one, minimum 1 CO should be considered to map with PO. Otherwise, PO has been written vaguely. You have to revise, you have to call for a meeting, BOS meeting, then you have to modify. The same whole process you have to repeat. So course outcomes are to be mapped with program outcomes and also with the program specific outcomes in such a way that 1 CO must be mapped with more than 1 PO and vice versa. At least one you have to take care. So it must be ensured that all COs are sufficient to measure the attainment level of POs. So the competency of the student is measured in terms of the program outcomes, program specific outcomes. Then comes to the successful story of the higher education institution. So the CO should address the attainment of POs. So you have to take care. So attainment must be measured at each program, at each and every program, at each level, every semester. Every semester, by the end of the semester, you have to get the attainment for each program. So this is the overall cumulative table. You can see to show the mapping between CO and PO, where CO1 is mapped to PO1 with the level high. Similarly, CO5 is mapped with the PSO1 with the level 2, that is medium. You can take the average PO1, how the PO1 is mapped to this particular related course. Overall mapping strength I am talking. This last row I am representing here. This is indicating the overall mapping strength of POs in related to that particular course, because these COs are for a particular course. So 3 plus 1, 4 by 2, that is 2. Average, that is 2. So PO1 is mapped with the course outcomes of a particular course in a medium level, that is 2. You can see here, last one, PSO5. There is a specified PSO5. How the PSO5 is relevant to course, which is having 5 course outcomes, 2.8, that is very high, nearing to 3. Nearing to 3. This is how you can decide the mapping strength of the course with the program outcomes. In turn, this will decide. The level of mapping between CO and PO, and also the performance level of the student, which is intended during the assessment process. Okay. This is regarding the direct and indirect assessment methods. Put a weightage. What proportion you can consider for direct as well as indirect assessment? You may fix as per your guidelines. You can have your own guidelines in your higher education institution. Direct assessment may be for 80% and indirect assessment may be for 20%, or it may be 75 is to 25 or 90 is to 10, whichever comfortable. To start with, you go 90% direct assessment, 10% indirect assessment. Year after year, you can increase that incrementally. So if you do this, you are carefully observing the performance level of the student through the surveys, through the exit surveys, maybe from alumni, employer, or parents, or passed out students. So, and the proportion between direct and indirect assessment is in the institution level or in the university level, right? You can fix that. The assessment tools for the direct assessment are all this. I have already told you. Indirect tools are from the surveys. Indirect assessment are from the surveys. Okay. How do we do the indirect assessment? Direct assessment, you conduct the test, you will evaluate the test papers, right? And then you will tabulate the marks. Then you will take the reduced marks out of 10 or 15 or 20, whatever it is. You may conduct the test for 100 marks or 30 marks or 25 marks. Then you will reduce that to 10. Then you will add the marks scored in assignment by a particular student. You will sum up, then you will submit. So these are all the ways involved in the assessment process in the direct assessment. In the indirect assessment, what do? You have to circulate a feedback form, that is the survey form, with all rubrics. You have to fix the rubrics. Rubrics is nothing but, that is an indicator. Rubrics is nothing but that is an indicator to measure the performance level of a learner. That's it. There is no any tragedy involved there. There is no any cumbersome definition involved to the term rubrics. It is an indicator to measure the performance level of the student. It is an indicator to reflect the learning level of the student. It is an indicator to showcase where the student is standing with respect to that particular program, with respect to that particular course, etc. So a questionnaire or a survey form is to be circulated to the passed out students, stakeholders, maybe parents or the alumni or an employer, where your alumni is working. How the questionnaire should be? You put all the POs Are all the COs, are all the PSOs in that questionnaire? Give the option for the respondents to response. Say, for example, you have five POs. Put all five POs, PO1, PO2, PO3, PO4, then respective PO statement. Then the space for rating. How to rate them? The respondents, how to rate in between 1 and 3. In between 1 and 3. What does this mean? 1 means, yes, student has performed well, student has performed just to achieve the program outcome. 2 means, yes, moderately achieved. 3 means excellent. That's how. That is the rubric here. 1, 2, 3 is known as the rubric. Here you can see number 1, 2, 3, low, medium, high is the rubric. So this is the rubric. This is an indicator represented by the respondent to give the response about the performance. Okay, you circulate this questionnaire. Let all the respondents give their response. You collect the responses, you analyze. How many of them have given 1? If that is 60%, if 60% for a particular PO, this will be done PO wise or CO wise in the indirect assessment. PO1, at least 60% of the people have given the response of 3. Only 60% of people have given the response of 3. Then the rubric is 1. Because 60% is the level, rubric fixed for 60% to 70% is 1. So the performance of the student to achieve that PO is very low, is low. No, it is not 60%. From the analysis, you have got that 70% of the people have given response 3. You make it the rubric 2, that is the level of achievement is 2, medium. Medium. Similarly, 80% people have given 3. Make it as high. That is 3. The student extraordinarily achieved in attaining that particular PO. This is reflected while doing the indirect assessment. This is how we do indirect assessment, and we will calculate the indirect attainment. We get the report. This should be converted into 20%. This should be converted into 20. I'll tell you how to do that. Next, let us go to the direct assessment. As I already told you, end semester examination and IA tests are there. You have C1, C2 test, assignment, seminar, overall for 30%, and end semester examination for 70%. So 30 marks for internal test and 70 marks for end semester examination. Or 40% for internal test, 60% for end semester examination. This will be varying from university to university or college to college. That is up to your institute regulations, your university, affiliating university regulation. You fix that. So, direct assessment you are doing is for 70%. In that, internal assessment is 30%, end semester examination is 70%. You have to consider both for direct assessment as a whole. Internal examination and end semester examination, both you have to consider. Okay, how to do the calculation? Certain simple templates you can prepare in the Excel sheet, or if some institutes have procured the software, then the exercise needed to be done by the teacher will be very less. Otherwise, even you have to enter the marks question by question for each and every student. I will demonstrate. So you have to enter, you have to create some provision to enter the basic details. Then you have to map CO with PO by following the strategies what I have explained so far. By following any 2 of the 3 CO-PO mapping to be done by following any 2 of the 3. That is by considering the contact hours, by considering the number of assessment tools used, or by considering the level of performance required with, and the correlation between CO and PO. So that you have to do. Threshold percentage of marks from IA test For each CO, you have to fix threshold. What is the percentage of marks to be scored by a student to pass in that question? That is the threshold. If you have 4-mark question, it is linked to one particular CO. How to say that CO has been attained by that particular student? At least out of 4, he has to score around 1.5 marks. So that is the threshold you have to fix. Minimum for passing marks anta heltivalla, hange threshold you have to fix for each and every question. So that will be in turn for each and every CO. Then minimum pass marks for end semester examination you have to consider. You have to fix some rubrics. Rubrics is to, again, to indicate the level of performance. Then you have to calculate CO attainment. Then you have to calculate the PO and PSO attainment by using the calculated CO attainment. For each and every course, you have to repeat this. Then you have to consolidate for all the courses. This is what required in outcome-based education. You have to do laborious calculation, either manually or by using the software system. All these steps you have to follow. You see this particular table, this is an exemplar. What I have developed in our institution and what our institute is following is this mapping strategy. These are all the basic details. You see a faculty name, program, subject, course code, session, that is the year, and when, in which year this course was offered, what was the title of the course, right? So threshold marks you see here, threshold for percent attainment, 50%. Each question, suppose a question is having 4 marks, the maximum marks, 50% of that means 2 the student has to secure. Then he has attained the CO, otherwise he is not. Out of 4, he has to score 2 for that particular question. That is the threshold we are fixing. You can change this. You may fix that to 40, you may fix that to 30. Let it be minimum 30, not less than that. Not less than that. Okay, this is the threshold. And the passing marks for end semester examination out of 70, because my course is having the proportion for internal assessment and the end semester examination as 30:70. Therefore, for 70 marks, the passing marks is fixed at 21. 30% of 70 is 21. This is the threshold for end semester examination. Then the rubrics. It is always difficult to express the result in terms of percentage. We will use some rubrics. As I already told you, rubrics are nothing but they are the indicators to express or measure the performance level of the learners, competency, how competent they are. So if 70% or more students have scored, the rubric stands at 3, the CO attainment. The CO attainment stands at 70%. The CO attainment stands at 70%. The rubric is 3. The CO attainment stands at 60. Rubric is 2. CO attainment stands at 50. Rubric is 1. You can fix this. If that is less than 50, you have to give retest so that each and every question should be answered by the student in such a way that at least minimum 50% of the marks should be secured. You have to repeat this. You have to repeat this. Okay, this is a mapping. This is the basic information. And next comes to mapping. Mapping is between CO and PO. I have a course. That course, Essentials of Analytical Chemistry, is designed with the 5 course outcomes. And MSc Chemistry is having 5 program outcomes and 7 program specific outcomes. What level COs are mapped with PO? I have mapped here. CO1 is mapped with PO1 with the level 2. How? The content related to CO1 is taught by utilizing the contact hours between 15 and 25 hours. 25% of the overall hours are more than 3 assessment tools are used. That's what the mapping level is 2. CO1 is related to PO1. What is the mapping level? That is 2. Similarly, you see here, CO3 is related to PO2. Mapping level is 3. More than 25% of the contact hour is dedicated to teach the content related to CO3, and more than 4 assessment tools are used, or a student has to perform very severely in order to achieve this CO3 related to PO2. That's what the mapping level is 3. So like this you can do. Take the average of all this. The average mapping strength for PO1 is 1.8, 1.6, 1.8, etc. The overall average of all this last row means the COs are mapped with POs to a medium strength here, that is 1.7, nearing to 2. Nearing to 2, you can see here. This is all about the mapping. Once the mapping is done, next is marks entry. Next is marks entry. You can see again the basic detail remains same here. Basic detail remains same. You can change examination marks if it is 100. End semester examination pass marks is 40. That is related to your scheme. Don't worry about that. But you put threshold. What should be the passing mark? That is required here in order to evaluate. It is required here. Okay, you see here. A simple tabular column we can create, comprised of the serial number, register number, name of the student, and first test, second test, the questions in the first test, CO1, how many marks, CO2, how many marks, CO3, how many marks, CO4, how many marks. Similarly, in the second test, end semester examination, maximum marks was for 70. In the end semester examination, each and every question not necessarily to be mapped with the CO. Why? It can be done. It can be done, not necessary. We can presume that the question paper in the end semester examination is set in such a way that all the COs are given equal importance. All the COs are given equal importance. Therefore, no need to map each and every CO with the question. Of course, taxonomy level is to be mentioned. So that's what. No mapping between question and CO in the end semester examination. Okay. So totally related to CO1 in the test 1, 16 marks are assigned for all the questions related to CO1. For the questions on CO2, 21 marks assigned. There may be 3 questions, 5 questions, 2 questions, or 1 question. Question wise also you can make this tabular column. I'll show you in the forthcoming slide. CO3 for only 3 questions. Then each and every student, how many marks scored for 16, 9. Abhirami has scored for 16, 9. For 21, 15. For 3, 2. So each and every CO marks have been secured by the student. Likewise, for all the students you enter. All the students you enter. One part is over. Similarly, C2 test. Internal assessment test marks also you tabulate like this. CO3, total questions were for 16 marks. Abhirami has scored 13 marks for 16. For CO4, 10 marks maximum, 8 scored. For CO5, 14 marks maximum, 10 scored. So all the students' marks you enter here. Then end semester examination marks out of 70. How many scored by Abhirami? How many scored by Rajendraprasad? How many scored by Vijay Lakshmi? How many scored by Sharana Basava? You enter. You enter. Then calculate the percentage. These yellow columns reflecting the percentage of marks obtained by each and every student. How? 9 by 16 into 100, 56.25. For each and every student, for each and every CO, you have to do. How I have got this 56.25, 9 by 16 into 100, percentage of marks. Similarly, 21 by 15 by 25 into 100, 71.43 for CO2. For CO3, 2 by 3 into 100, 78.95. Right? For CO4, 8 by 10. Overall I am talking. Here also CO3 is there. Here also CO3 is there. 13 plus 2, 15. Total mass is 19. 15 by 19. You have to put here. Like this, you calculate the percentage of mass. I don't think you got any doubt here. Shall I proceed?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Are you able to follow me, sir?
Yes, sir. We are following, sir.
Okay, okay. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Calculate the percentage. Similarly, for the end semester examination also, you calculate the percentage. Otherwise, if you have put the threshold marks for 70, no need to calculate percentage. You can retain as such. Okay. Now, you have data of 10 students or 100 students or 300 students. For each and every CO, the student have secured some percentage of marks. Right. For each and every CO, each and every student have secured some percentage of marks. Now, you calculate that how many students have scored more than 70%. I have a rubric here. What is the rubric here? 1, 2, 3. If the student scored 50% of the students have scored the threshold of 50% of the overall marks. That is the rubrics. There are 10 students. Out of 10, how many have scored 50 to 60% of the marks? You calculate. Convert that to percentage. If that percentage is in between 50 and 60, rubric is 1. Rubric is 1. That you have to tabulate at the last row here, what I have represented. So that's what I have done here. Say you see the last absentees you enter. They are all conventional, you can do. Presented student 10. Number of students secured marks greater than threshold marks. You see here. What is the threshold marks here? Threshold mark 50. In the internal assessment, end semester examination, it should be 40. Okay. So end semester examination, how many percentage of the students have scored more than threshold marks? You tabulate here. Number of students here, percentage here. So 7 students, 10 students, 10 students have scored more than 50%, more than the threshold they have secured. Convert that to percentage. Total 10 students, out of 10, only 7 have secured more than 40 marks, which has been fixed as a threshold. What is the percentage? 70%. Similarly, out of 10, all 10 have secured more than 50%, 100%, 100%, 100%, 100%, like this. Now you use the rubric. If that is 70 and above, percentage of students secured more than 15% of the marks, that is the threshold, stands at 70. Rubric is 3. Put that as 3. More than 73, more than 73, 3. That is the attainment of the student on these course outcomes. So CO1 is attained completely. CO2 is attained completely. CO3 is attained completely. Similarly, CO4 and CO5 have been attained completely. So final attainment of CO from the direct assessment is 3. How you can get from this final attainment? How do you calculate this? Like this. Final attainment of CO from the direct assessment is calculated by using this formula. You have the proportion of 30:70. 30 for internal assessment, 70 for end semester examination. Okay, so this is the table I have in my Excel sheet. I have showed in the previous slide. Here, this table I have taken as such to the next slide. So attainment 3 in the end semester examination, and all 5 COs are having the attainments of 3. Attainments of 3. Overall attainment I have calculated here as 3. How I have get this? How I have got this? By means of this formula, you can see I have highlighted with yellow color. The overall attainment of CO by direct assessment is calculated using 30:70 proportion. 30% from the internal assessment, 70% from the end semester examination. How to do this? This is the CO1 attainment 3, CO2 attainment 3, CO3 attainment 3, CO4, CO5 attainment. So this 3 is for 100%. This 3 is for 100%. Convert that to 30%. 30% means 30 by 100. 30 by 100 means 0.3. 0.3 into this 3. 0.3 into this 3. For each and every CO you do this. 30% of CO you will get it. 30 by 100 into CO attainment in each and every particular CO. This is CO1 attainment 3. So 3 into 30 by 100 or 0.3 into 3. 0.3 into 3 for this CO plus end semester examination has the weightage of 70%. 70% means 0.7 into CO attained in end semester examination means this 3. This is the attainment of all the students in the end semester examination. That is 3. So 0.3 into 3 plus 0.7 into 3. You calculate, you will get overall attainment. You will get overall attainment that can be tabulated here. That can be tabulated here. So CO1 attainment 3, CO2 attainment 3, CO3 attainment 3, CO4, CO5. This is the end semester examination attainment. This is the final attainment. How have you got this? So 0.3 into this plus 0.7 into this. We will get this. Again, to get this, 0.3 into this plus 0.7 into this. Similarly, to get this, 0.3 into this plus 0.7 into this. So this has to be continued for each and every course. You see this? I told you, question-wise also we can enter the marks and we can calculate the percentage of marks. Then we can have the attainment report. We can have the attainment report. You see here, for my particular course, part A, having question number 1, part B, question 2, 3, and 4, in the internal assessment test 1, in the internal assessment test 2, in the internal assessment test 1, assignment was also considered. In the IA component 2, seminar was also considered. I have entered the marks of each and every student question-wise. Here, what is the maximum question assigned to each and every question? Maximum marks assigned to each and every question. To which CO that question is mapped, to which CO that question is relevant. You can see from this table. So finally, I have calculated the percentage of performance for each student. So 25% for CO1 achievement, 25% for CO1, 25% for CO1 from question number 1 to 1A, 1B, 1C, like this. You can take the average and you can consolidate from CO1. What is the percentage of performance for Abhirami SM, that is student 1. Similarly for CO2, CO3, CO4, CO5, CO6, CO7. Enter the end semester examination marks at last column. You will get this. You will get this. Do the calculation. Calculate the percentage of students scored greater than threshold marks. 48% related to CO1, 36% related to CO2 number. So then you convert that to percentage, right? You will get the percentage. Then do the attainment. Do the attainment using the rubrics. So rubric standing at 2, 1, 3. This has not been attained. This is dangerous. Why? The percentage of students scored less than threshold marks. Only 25 students have scored more than threshold marks. Majority of the students have scored less than threshold marks. That is 35.7% of the students scored greater than threshold marks. So this is dangerous. You have to repeat the process. Those students have not attained the course outcomes. You have to discuss in the faculty meet. You have to discuss in the department meet. You have to discuss in the academic council or governing council meeting in order to improve their performance. If they are failed, you have to pick them up. So like this. So overall CO attainment you calculate. Overall CO attainment you have to calculate by considering the end semester examination to 70% and the internal assessment test to 30% by using the appropriate formula. Then PO attainment calculation you have to do. Now CO attainment you did with the aid of that particular marks entry and tabulation, everything. CO attainment you have got. PO attainment you have to do. For that, you need two things. One is COPO mapping table, what you did earlier. COPO mapping table, what you did earlier. You have to take this. This is the mapping. Right. Take the attainment sheet now. CO attainment sheet you have. CO1 attainment 2.7, CO2 attainment 2.4, CO3 attainment 2.1, CO4, CO5, CO6, etc. This is the attainment level you have got from this calculation. Use this. So you have to make this. This 2.7 is for 3 maximum. Right? 2.7 is for 3. It is maximum. Use this table here. This 2 is for 3. What was the mapping strength maximum? 3. 1, 2, 3. We have followed our strategy and we have mapped CO with PO with the numbers 1, 2, 3. This is 2. The mapping level of CO with PO1 is 2. So, if the mapping level is 2, what is the attainment level out of 2.7? How to calculate this? The attainment of PO1 is equal to mapping level, that is 2, divided by maximum mapping strength, that is 3, 2 by 3 into 2.7. Ekandre CO1 attainment is 2.7. CO1 attainment is 2.7. I have put here simply to do the calculation. Don't worry about this number. Directly we can calculate by using the formula in the spreadsheet. In order to make these numbers appear, I have put these values here: 2.7, 2.7 for CO1, 2.4 for CO2, 2.1 for CO3, 3 for CO4, CO5, CO6, etc. So PO1 attainment is equal to PO1 or PSO attainment is equal to mapping level divided by maximum mapping probability, that is 3. Maximum mapping probability 3 ne. So 2 by 3. How? From this mapping table, 2 by 3. 3 ಗೆ 2 ಆದರೆ 2.7 ಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟು? So 2 by 3 into 2.7, you will get 1.8. This is the PO attainment. So how much percentage PO1 attainment from this particular CO1? 1.8 is for 3. That is 60%. 60% attainment. So your students put together, they have attained PO1 only to 60%. So like this, all the PO attainment you calculate by using this table, 2 by 3 again. Here you see PSO2. PSO2 here, 1 by 3 into 2.7, you will get 0.9. 1 by 3 into 2.7. 1 by 3, 1 by 3, 1 over 3 into 2.7, you will get 0.9. Like this, all the PO attainment and PSO attainment you have to calculate. So average PO attainment you do by just taking the average of all these things, 1.66, 2.13, like this. So overall subject attainment from this particular course, I am talking only one course. I am talking only one course. So overall attainment is 1.5. So 1.5 is the attainment. Mapping strength is 1.8. So 1.5 by 1.8 into 100, 83% attained. So from this particular course, from this particular paper, 83% of attainment has been achieved by the students of that particular batch. So this is a process to be done for one course, and this has to be done for all the courses. That is direct assessment. That is direct assessment. And you have done this direct assessment for 80% or 90%. You fixed that. Then you do indirect assessment by surveys. You may circulate the hard copy or Google Forms, whatever it is, to the students, parents of students, alumni, employers of alumni, teachers. Circulate, collect the responses, analyze, gather the data, fix the rubrics. If the 80% or more given I rating, fix it 3. If 70% give I rating, 2. If only 60% gave one I rating, only 1. Convert that to respective proportion. What proportion you have given to the indirect assessment, 20% or 30%. So percentage of PO attainment level from the rubric, whether it is 3 or 2 or 1. So that number divided by 3 into 100. You will get indirect PO or PSO attainment. Now you get the overall attainment, that is 80% to the direct assessment, 20% to the indirect assessment. So 0.8 into attainment in the direct assessment, how much? That is 1.5 plus 0.2 into attainment from the indirect assessment. You will get the overall attainment, overall PO attainment. Clear? So this is how direct and indirect assessment will be done. So to sum up, you have to maintain all these documents. You have to understand the mapping criterions. Mapping criterions out of 3, any 2. You have to map the questions with POs, questions with COs, COs with POs. You have to correlate questions with Bloom's taxonomy also. You have to prepare a data sheet to enter the marks. You have to fix the threshold, and you have to calculate the CO attainment. Then you have to calculate PO, PSO attainment through CO attainment, overall attainment for each course, then for all the courses. So this will give you the direct assessment. Then you do the indirect assessment, indirect analysis, consolidate the overall attainment report. Consolidate overall attainment report. You do this for each and every course. So you will get the outcome-based education assessment report that has to be stored, that has to be discussed, that has to be deliberated in the governing body meeting, governing council meeting, that has to be brought to the notice of your management so that achievements should be accomplished by the students. This is all about the outcome-based education. So there is a clear outcome inference that there is a huge difference between OBE and conventional education system in relation to the focus, curriculum design, adopting the teaching methodology, assessment strategy, evaluation criteria, and more importantly, the mentoring process by the faculty, involvement of the students, measurement of the learning outcomes, skilling of the learners, flexibility in learning, and creating the learners into industry-ready people. So various differences we can see. We have great responsibilities. We have to shoulder them. They are the future army. So our society is to be sustainable. We have to create an healthy atmosphere for learners. Learners may become teachers. Learners may become educators to your son or daughter. So your son and daughter should not be denied with the quality education. So even though your curriculum is not having any prescribed learning outcomes, you are used to be practiced. You are recommended to practice that. Then only you will be interested teacher to the learners. You will be demanded teacher. You are going to be an asset to the society. You are going to be an asset to the institute. So I hope I have given the justice